Hello viewers, Anhur of Odyssey here, and I am joined by...
Cold Fusion.
Dreadwolf.
Mitchell.
Tesseract.
Flame Fury.
Sunalex.
And Stable.
As you're probably aware, War of the Light Part 1 DLC9 is currently on the test server and is due for release soon, TM. So we thought we'd put together a little commentary given our initial impressions while we watch our run through of the new 8-man operation Assault and Battery on the hero side.
What a big ring.
So who wants to kick us off with their thoughts?
We're gonna see from rage tank point of view first, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it alternates between tank, DPS and controller points of views throughout the video. I think the biggest talking point with this DLC is the new Rage power set, which is
Definitely.
obviously a tanking power set, and obviously a DPS.
A lot of questions coming in about how it compares with the existing tanking sets, and I know you've ventured into a few of them, Sen, and you're currently playing Rage on the test. Initial thoughts on the differences and similarities?
I think the concept behind it is really good. I think it's a brilliant idea, what they thought out on paper, but I'm still not overly convinced that it's a very practical power set at the moment. I've been actually speaking in the Rage power set thread on the official forums, and me and a few of the other forum members have shared similar views on some of the mechanics behind it, I guess.
So what would you say are the main tanking issues that Rage has?
Well, it's the whole way the buff is generated. You know, the more enemies you have around you, then the greater your health pool will be, and that seems a bit strange when you know, you probably want a higher health pool when you're fighting a boss, which is just one. So you could go into Kandak, be surrounded by loads of level 30 trash mobs, and you know, you'd have such a high health pool because there's so many enemies around you. But when you come to face a boss like the Ravager, it's only just one enemy, and you know, so your health pool doesn't go up by that amount. So that's one point. And the other point is the whole rage mode and rage crash mechanic. I'm just not entirely convinced completely on that at the moment. I think more tweaking of it needs doing, and I know they've changed a lot of stuff. What's going to be the next build on a test server, like making a heartbeat sound more easier to hear and things like that. So I'm hoping with improvements.
And Illusion, you played Rage Damage quite extensively on a test server. What are your initial thoughts on that?
It feels pretty smooth. It has some similarities to Hard Light. The combo system is pretty nice. It's much more simple than Hard Light. It's more like Celestial. The damage you do with that is definitely on top with all the known power sets who simply do those great damage like I mentioned, Celestial Hard Light and Mental and all those others. Well, the biggest difference compared to all the other power sets is to all the other power sets like Celestial and Hard Light is that it is the first precision-based power set that has power interaction in it. And that makes it so much different to them. That's what I actually like about it. The downside of it is that it was pretty simple to figure out how it works compared to all the power sets, but maybe there's some hidden thing that we haven't explored yet. Who knows?
What I like about the combo system for Rage is that it's not like Hard Light you have to spec into every power you're going to combo into, or it's not like Celestial you have to pick the mirror power on the opposite side of the of the other tree and stuff like that, you actually combo into the power that you are using. You just continue comboing the same power. That's makes it more simple, easier to use.
Do you still have to deal with the crash mechanic as a DPS?
No, you don't have to. There is a few powers who have DPS potential, who have also the crash mechanic, but you don't have to use them. You should really look at the description before you pick the powers, so you're not end up with having a rage crash mechanic power in it, and then you have to deal with dying as a DPS constantly because you get hit by mobs and. Yeah.
But the rage crash mechanic does apply to DPS. It's not a tank role only thing.
It applies to both roles. It applies to both roles.
But you can just choose to totally ignore it as a DPS.
Yeah.
Or bypass it.
Yeah, well, if you get hit a lot, because in the split part, which we currently see here, and you don't have being on the side with the tank, and you get hit a lot by the trash mobs, then it could be a little bit critical. But overall, you don't have to worry about the rage.
Yeah, exactly. That's if you are using a rage crash ability, which you don't have to as a DPS. That's what we're saying. You don't have to pick a rage crash ability to DPS.
Yeah, no, you don't have to.
What's the power consumption like on it, CC, compared to the other power sets? Is it pretty much the same, or?
It is definitely less than any other might power set, but it is a bit above the power-saving power sets like Celestial. It's pretty much somewhere in the middle, so it's a good mix out of it.
More than nature?
Yeah.
I'm safe then.
Yeah, when we when we speak about nature without phase dodge, yeah, then definitely.
And Mitchell, you primarily play healer, and you've gone through a few instances with a rage tank. How are you finding adapting that? Because with the ice, you know what you're looking for example. But with rage, it's a new mechanic. How are you finding healing that?
Not an issue, really. I mean, apart from when the rage crash goes off. In which case, I don't think there's anything I can do there, really, anyway. So it's not really much of a difference. I mean, with ice, there's not really a lot of little bits of damage going off, usually preventing most of it. With this, you do seem to be taking constant damage, but not a lot.
What's quite interesting about the rage mode and the rage crash at the moment is obviously when you go into rage mode, that's active for 8 seconds before the rage crash happens, and any healing that you get from a healer during that 8 seconds, that doesn't get taken off the total damage that you'll be dealt when the rage crash happens, so that's a quite odd mechanic.
Do you think rage tanking is a power set that you'd recommend to a first-time tank, somebody coming straight into the game, never tanking before, using the other power sets?
No, I think it's at the moment there's not a lot to it, but on the other hand, it's kind of it's a different mechanic altogether, and I'm just not entirely convinced of it. I think it looks great on paper, but the practicality of it, I'm just not so sure. And for that reason, I just say it wouldn't be good for a beginner to try it.
Do you think it has similar downsides as fire?
I think it has a lot of flaws. I think it has more downsides than the others tanking sets at the moment.
Because from looking at it, it does seem quite similar to fire, in that you seem to be stacking your health.
But you just don't get the heals. You can't heal yourself. So
Kind of, I don't know, that reminds me a bit more of Earth, where you've got really great mitigation so long as you can pull off your combos, but if you get interrupted with them or you have to lift off of block at the wrong moment to do them, then you're screwed.
I keep on forgetting about Earth tanks.
Yeah, they exist, I know.
they are right.
How about you, CC? Would you recommend Rage DPS into a first-time player, like creating their character from news? It's something that you can pick up really easily.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to figure out some stuff, and as said, the combos are pretty easy as well. So it's not that hard to get the power set going as a DPS. So if you're a first timer in this game, Rage might be a choice in that case. So it's totally different from the compared to the tank perspective.
So you'd be able to put out some pretty big numbers from the offset.
Yeah, definitely big numbers with one of those powers, especially.
I can see on your loadout there that you have the mesmerizing lasso. Was there a shortage of Rage powers to pick from?
That was more like a fun system. I would not pick that anymore. There are better options. It was just I was using what was it? Galling Eruption. That's the one on the right to Mesmerizing Lasso. That's bottom 5. You can use it and turn it into a precision-based AoE field. And then I clipped it with Mesmerizing Lasso before going into the other next power. So I made it more overcomplicated than it actually was. And you really don't need that. There are options in the power set which are not so great. And yeah, in the Iconics, there are better options in the Iconics. So
you're breaking up a bit. There are Iconics that are...
Yeah, well, there are options in the Iconics that seems to be better at the moment than the few that are left in the power set itself to fill in that spot. So I'm a bit twisted about it. So on the range, it's not much options left in that power set. The power set is really melee focused.
So it's a really melee focused power set with a lot of ranged boss content.
Yeah.
So looking at the content then, as you can see, there's part of here that we've had to split the group, and that's obviously something that they've been this has been in the game even since Batcave 1, I suppose. There's parts where you could split the group, but they really kind of seem like they like this idea, and I don't know if it's to try and encourage more standard group formats, or if it's going to be another reason to pick up some armories which are coming soon.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of the split?
I think one side's exciting, the other side's boring.
I agree.
Agreed.
On the video at the moment, we're standing doing nothing. You're actually supposed to finish at about the same time. I'm not sure what took the Metropolis group so long, but it is timed so that you'll both finish your parts at roughly the same moment.
I think we're bored out of our minds.
The top left is the team in Metropolis. You had to pick up the canisters and bring them to this generator for the mist, but the problem is there's so many ads that you can't really bypass them. You have to take them down. So I think there's maybe some
recommended on that side.
Yeah, a little bit of imbalance there. So the team on the bottom right that just went straight through to ranks. They had an easier task, whereas the guys in Metropolis, like I said, the objective to get those canisters together is a little bit more time consuming.
And plus they're down a DPS as well. The tank is on that side, aren't they?
When we did it on the villain side, I think we had the same split, but we actually finished at the same time though. So I don't know what you guys are doing.
It was our first venture into there as well. I think it's probably the key.
Oh, right, okay.
That could be one of
So
the
we went
reasons,
there, had a little look around, see what's going on, what do we expect, and then get all together. And yeah, the 4-player split, like Sen said, it is good and bad, boring and entertaining. I definitely think it's to do with trying to utilize every aspect that the game's offering you. So like you said, the armories and having a correct team set up and so forth to try and engage you more than just blindly going through like we have done in recent times.
Just got another quick question for CC about the DPS side of it. It's been advertised as a might-based power set with precision aspects, but what would you recommend as the equipment to get the most damage out of it? DPS wise, precision, might, full precision or full might?
It's pretty simple. Precision gear, pick precision gear and put in precision mods, and in the red slots precision and might, and yeah, that's it. There is so much precision floating around in this power set that it is not useful to go with too much might in it. Just a bit to compensate the stuff you have with your with the initial power. When you use it, you have the might, but that's not so big that it's worth to have too much might with you. So precision is really the key of Rage.
Really interesting point has just come up here on the video. So you can see we've again split up slightly as a maze kind of format. I'll let someone who's actually experienced both sides of it go into that detail. But this room that they're waiting in, it looks really good. It definitely looks, they laughed at me when I said it, but it looks more beautiful than a lot of content we've had recently. Whether it's because they've built it specifically with the upgraded textures and stuff they released, as opposed to the other stuff using the old stuff, I don't know. But yeah, anyway, the mazes.
Ranks looks gorgeous on the whole. It's just a fantastic area. But yeah, the maze, again, there's a split here. In the top left, you've got a bunch of icons with the kind of the map for the maze in front of it, and you can see doors that'll open and as you would hit those buttons. You've also got mobs that are attacking the crystal things on the right hand side there, and then you've got your team moving through the maze. So it's I think if you've got any kind of vocal communication at all, it's not difficult to keep track of where everybody is. It'd be interesting to see how you do it with a pug group just in text chat, but the maze group itself is reasonably simple. I think you get one ad that spawns each time you move into the next room. So long as you keep grouped together and everybody in the same area, then you're going to be fine.
There can be traps as well. Can be trap rooms.
That's if the ads successfully damage one of the crystals on the right. It'll spawn one of the traps. So if they damage all three of them, then the group in the maze will wipe. Which is why you need a good couple of people out there on the button side of things to actually defend those crystals and the rest of the group.
Don't actually do any damage to the group, and they're very easy to take down and move very slowly. So it only really takes one person on the buttons and one DPS.
Was it easy enough to pick up what to do with the consoles when you first started using it? Was it pretty self-explanatory?
It was reasonably simple to tell that. I mean, because you come across the maze itself and you can't progress any further in the maze, and we were kind of standing looking at those buttons for ages anyway, whilst waiting for the other team to catch up. But if you've ever played any kind of puzzle game type thing, you're going to recognise this sort of setup. We had a bit more issue with it because, as you could see in the video, the maze itself, the image of the maze was obscured by the cog button. You couldn't actually see what rooms you would open up. We fed that back and they changed that, but we just ended up taking a screenshot of it when there was no buttons up and referring to the screenshot instead of what was actually there, which just added time to it, but it wasn't a huge disaster.
But the consoles will change every time that you face that. It's not the same.
I think the consoles are the same. The route that the different buttons, I'm not sure exactly what order they will become active in. So obviously at any given time you can only activate 2 of them. But I'm not sure if there's a set order for which to, like if you press, the first button, will it always be the same ones that activate after that?
An interesting mechanic, something we've not seen before in this game. Hopefully it's not going to be a downside for pugs. I mean, pugs have their own issues. Communication is never paramount in those, so hopefully they get past it.
Some well-timed glitch.
Don't want to see any threads on the forums about lack of communication and so forth.
I mean, it's a step in the right direction, though, with this sort of puzzle thing being added, this puzzle element being added. Hopefully it's an indicator of things to come.
Takes it back to the Hive instance, the Hive duo, where you had to press all those buttons.
I think, though, that it could be manageable in pugs if you just look at the minimap as well. Because you can basically tell where they are.
The minimap goes off the screen. You can't actually see all of the maze on the minimap. You just see a small portion of it.
We
won't have to go into the full map for it.
Dwell too much on the maze because we're going to have guides coming out and stuff to help people. But let's talk about the actual difficulty of the content itself. The 4-man operation and the 8-man operation. How did people find that? Was it more difficult than Paradox Wave? Was it a lot easier?
Easier.
In the gear that we picked up, it was definitely easier. I personally cannot compare because I didn't go in there with tier 5 gear and stuff like that. I just picked up the higher CR gear and went in, so I can't really compare that. I really liked it though.
Initially, we had a lot of problems on the final boss. Not that I think we actually would have problems, obviously, figuring out the mechanics and things. There's a couple of nasty one-shots, which, again, feedback says is they're going to reduce in this boss fight in particular. Aside from this boss fight, certainly, it seemed relatively simple. Most of the boss fights in the whole thing are quite similar. In the 4-mans and the 8-mans, you've got your main boss, and then he'll have a friend will join in halfway through, and if you take down the main boss first, he'll respawn at 25% health until you've taken down both of them.
Tess.
Yeah.
That was some awesome pulling you did there.
I know, wasn't it? This is what I love about it. This does seem, particularly in comparison with Origin Crisis, there's a lot of room for crowd control in the whole DLC, but especially in this fight we found. And again, I think they've nerfed it slightly, so it's not going to be as important. But certainly, if you're going in with less gear, then the actual kind of crowd control aspects of this particular boss and a couple of other areas is going to be really handy to have. Unlike Origin Crisis, where a lot of the key mobs were you couldn't stun them, a lot of the mobs here are susceptible to crowd control and being stunned, and the guys in this fight in particular react like the Sparks and Nexus do. You stun them and they'll stay stunned, they'll never break out.
One thing I wanted to mention is having to make use of the newly introduced single taunt power, what's been put across on all the tank power sets. It's especially useful in this room because you don't want a cone AoE to pull away those manhunters once the controllers have them.
There were a lot of questions coming up as well, saying how would we describe the content? Is it tier 5 or is it higher? And it's tier 5 content. I'd say the most like for like instance would be Nexus. It's probably not as long as Nexus is for an average group, but I'd say it's closest to Nexus. It's not on the scale of Paradox.
Yeah. I think the 4-man ops are harder than Brother in Arms and Family Reunion. Just in terms of the ads, I think are going to be scaled a little higher. But I also think they're a lot more boring. There's certainly been a lot less effort put into them than was put into Brother in Arms and Family Reunion. They're really just go here, do this 5 times, go there, do this 6 times. I wasn't particularly taken with the 4-man operations at all, but I did really enjoy the 8-man. I thought it was really good fun.
How did it feel for people? More of an op or more of a raid, or a mix of both. I know for me it felt like a mix of both.
3/4 raid, 1/4 operation. Never really had a raid where you had to go through to a different instance to do an aspect of the objectives, whereas the operations you do, it only happens once. Yeah, bit of combo of both.
I think if you don't have to go to Metropolis, it feels a lot like a raid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with loads of teleporters.
Mm.
Just reaching the end here. I think maybe one last thing to point out is the new styles. We've got a video up on the channel about those, but they, in action on your character, they do look really good. Definitely a lantern feel, especially when you're going through ranks and for the villain's Mogo. Don't know if you guys like those.
I think the new styles look great.
I had a question about concerning your legs there, Tess. It looked like robot crystal legs kind of thingy.
Yeah, that's a reward for completing one of the new collections that are going to be found in the Metropolis instance. There's 3 groups of collections, and they've got kind of inspired by gear for the rewards for those. That is the Interstellar Textile, and it does look really cool. They did change it slightly so that the colours are changeable. I'm not a huge fan of the way that they've assigned which colour goes to which number of your tab, but yeah, it's a very cool style.
They should have learned from the Vengeance PvP set where you had to have the white cross at first. On the chest piece.
Yeah.
But yeah, good fun, good raid.
Yeah, we've reached the end of the instance there. I think we pretty much covered most of what we wanted to go over. We'll have some guides up in the future for both the instances and the rage power sets for tank and damage as it comes out on live. Anyone want to add any last comments?
Nope.
Nope.
Great.
Be
Well,
prepared
thank
to
you
see a
for,
sea of red.
thank
That's
you
all
for
I would
watching,
say.
guys. As always, like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
See you
Bye.
guys.
Goodbye.